Leo had a rule: never speak English unless you have to. It was not a real rule. Nobody told him to follow it, but he had followed it for 3 years. In class, he answered questions with short sentences. In groups, he let others speak first. Online, he typed slowly and deleted half of what he wrote. He told himself he was being careful. He was being afraid. Then one summer, Leo traveled alone for the first time. He went to Portugal. He had chosen Portugal carefully. The food looked good, the weather was warm, and most importantly, he thought he could get by without speaking much English. He was wrong. On the 3rd day, his train was canceled. The station was crowded. The announcements were fast. The staff spoke only Portuguese. Leo stood in the middle of the station with his bag, not knowing what to do. A man sat down on the bench next to him. He looked relaxed. He had a coffee in one hand and a paperback book in the other. He looked at Leo. "You look lost," the man said. His English was clear, American accent. Friendly. Leo felt his heart rate go up. "The train," Leo said, "I think, canceled." The man nodded. "Yeah, mine too. Looks like we're stuck for a while." He held out his hand. "I'm Carl." Leo shook it. "Leo? Where are you headed?" Carl asked. Leo told him, and then Carl asked another question, and Leo answered, and Carl asked another, and Leo answered again, and before Leo realized what was happening, they were talking. It was not a smooth conversation. Leo lost words constantly. He would start a sentence and stop halfway. He would use the wrong tense and not know how to fix it. He would understand Carl's question but not know how to answer it fully. At one point, Carl asked what Leo did for work. Leo knew the answer perfectly in his own language. In English, he could only find half of it. "I work with numbers," he said. "For companies, I check their money records." Carl nodded. "Oh, you're an accountant." "Yes," Leo said. "Accountant, that word." Carl laughed, not at Leo, just laughed, the way people laugh when something is simply true and a little funny. Leo laughed too, and something loosened in his chest. They talked for 2 hours. Carl asked about Leo's country. Leo asked about Carl's travels. Carl talked about his job. Leo talked about his family. Leo made mistakes in almost every sentence. Carl never corrected him. Carl never slowed down for him. Carl never looked impatient. He just kept talking like the mistakes were not the point, like the conversation was the point. At one point, Leo said something completely wrong. He meant to say he had been to many countries. What came out was something strange and confused. Carl looked at him for a second, then he said, "Wait, do you mean you've traveled a lot?" "Yes," Leo said, "that." "Got it," Carl said, and they moved on. No embarrassment, no explanation, no apology needed, just moved on. When the train finally came, they stood up. Carl picked up his book. "That was a good talk," he said. Leo nodded. "Yes," he said, and then without planning it, he added something. "I was nervous at first." Carl looked at him. "Really? I couldn't tell." Leo thought about that on the train. I couldn't tell. He had been losing words the whole time. He had been guessing and stumbling and talking around things. And Carl could not tell he was nervous, because Carl had not been listening for mistakes. He had been listening for Leo. That night, Leo sat in his hotel room. He thought about the past 3 years, all the conversations he had avoided, all the questions he had answered with short sentences, all the times he had let others speak first. He thought about the 2 hours in the train station. He had not known the word for accountant. he had not been able to explain half of what he wanted to say. He had made mistakes that he could hear as they came out, and it had been fine, more than fine. It had been a real conversation. Maybe the first real one he had ever had in English. Not because his English was better, because he had stopped waiting for it to be. Here is what Leo understood that night. For 3 years, he had been preparing for conversations, reviewing vocabulary, practicing grammar, planning what to say. But he had never understood what a real conversation actually needs. A real conversation does not need perfect sentences. It needs 2 people who are willing to keep going. Carl kept going because he was interested in Leo. Leo kept going because he had no choice, and something happened in that space. Not fluency, not yet, but connection. And connection, Leo realized, was the whole point. When Leo got home, something was different, not his grammar, not his vocabulary, his rule. The old rule was never speak unless you have to. He replaced it with something smaller. Just keep going when you lose a word. Keep going when you say something wrong. Keep going when you don't know how to finish the sentence. Keep going, because the other person is not waiting for perfect English. They are waiting to see if you will stay in the conversation. Stay, and the rest will follow. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you had a real conversation in English? Not a practice session, not a written exercise, not a sentence you planned before you said it. A real one. Messy and imperfect and real. Leo found his in a train station in Portugal. Yours might be closer than you think. You just have to stop waiting and start talking.